So in Victoria, this is allegedly, teachers at schools can help a child socially transition their gender. So what that means is they're not, taking them to the hospital and saying, righto, here's your new hormones and we're going to have the operation and turn a boy into a girl or vice versa. But they might allow the child to start wearing the uniform of the other gender, to be called by a name that they prefer, again, of the opposite gender. And where it gets controversial, well, it's already controversial, is that teachers feel they can do this even if the child's parents do not agree. Our next guest is National Secretary of the Teachers Professional Association, Edward Schuller. Good morning.
G'day, Tom. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for joining us. So first, is this true? Do teachers have the power to help a child socially transition their gender even when the parents don't agree with it?
Yeah, this has been pushed by the Department of Education. It's been pushed by the Allen government. And it's been in place for a couple of years now. And I know that the reporting on it has only just started. And we're glad that there is this issue coming to a head. I guess it's important to make sure as well that that your listeners know we surveyed our members of the TPAA, the Teachers Professional Association of Australia, and 91% of our members say that gender ideology has no place in Australia, in Australian schools. So we're very strident on that. We think at this point it's pretty reprehensible what the Allen government is doing, and it's getting to a stage where it's just outwardly evil. I mean, parents are being shut out of education, and this is one of the most dangerous consequences yet of what happens when that occurs.
See, well, I have a daughter. Let's say, in my mind, she's my daughter, and I found out that the school was encouraging her to refer to herself as a boy and to wear boys' clothes and to call herself a boy's name. Like, I would not be happy with that.
Yeah, and you'd be right not to be, because it is incumbent upon adults to ensure that we are loving children in the right way, and it's not loving to affirm something which is not true. And I think that's the part that's being lost on a lot of people. It's not just a matter of informed consent for children. This is something which is fundamentally untrue, and there needs to be. I think there'll be a reckoning for the government in due course if they don't move away from this stuff.
But leaving that aside, even the question of whether it's true or untrue, I mean, I agree with you, but to me, it's particularly bad if the parents specifically do not support this sort of social transition of gender, but the school encourages it anyway.
Yeah, and that goes to the point I was making earlier about the way that education functions, and parents have been shut out of basically any input around curriculum. This is particularly in state schools, curriculum, teaching, all of that sort of stuff. They've been shut out, and this is why the schooling system needs to be decentralised, because it's just the big blob that's ruling things. It's the Department of Education, it's the Australian Education Union, and it's getting to a very, very corrosive point.
There was the Premier was at a press conference last week, and she was asked about this, and she deflected and said, do you know the suicide rate for trans students is 20 times higher or something like that? But she didn't really want to deal with the issue at hand, did she?
No, she didn't. And I think that's telling, because there's no real appetite for reform in education. But student results are plummeting. Student violence is out of control. Transgender in the classroom is having a really bad effect on people. And I think the Premier's right when she talks about that transgender kids who think that they're transgender are more likely to commit suicide, harm themselves, or lead desperate lives of misery. But that's not because there's a social stigma. It's because these poor kids are being told at such a young age to find their identity in something which, again, is fundamentally untrue.
All right, thank you for your time. We'll look further into this. Edward Schuller there, National Secretary of the Teachers Professional Association. Again, look, I have issues about the whole transgender movement, particularly when it comes to sport, particularly when it comes to people who are underage. But if you've got parents who don't believe their child is transgender, but the school encourages the child to believe that, and not just encourages them, helps facilitate it against the wishes of the parents, I mean, that is not right.